Turbo and 2K show.
What is up, 2K crew? Yes, it is that time of the week and that time of the year, 2K. This is the first show we've had all year. Mm-hmm. I mean, we had, obviously the holidays kind of just fell the way they fell. And then, sickness ran through my house pretty deep and some other circumstances that, life happened. So Here we are, 2K crew, live back in the saddle for you guys and gals. And man, 2Ks, we got a pretty awesome show tonight.
Yes.
Not only are we going to get to the breaking news, we're going to go over the NFL playoffs as it sits right now. We're going to take a peek back at the national championship game because 2K's his national championship boner barely fit down the stairs. So we obviously have to talk about that. And then we're going to get to our top 5 tonight, which top 5 tonight is fast food burgers, 2Ks. I mean, that's a pretty broad category, but I think we'll get some really cool answers. So for those of you that are in the chat, I do want to say thank you for joining us. And Josh Lowe pipes in with Lions. That's right, brother. That is the thumbnail, the brand new Lions. 2Ks, the Lions are going to the NFC Championship game, and while we're thinking about that, I wonder if the odds are out. Them against the 49ers. They're traveling to San Francisco. So let's see here. Conference Championship. They have it opened San Fran 6.5 favorites. 6.5 favorites. So, and the game tonight, which we will be live reacting to, we got one screen here that we have dedicated solely to the Chiefs Bills, which 2Ks, this is a hell of a game.
This is a hell of a game. We knew it was going to be a hell of a game. I mean, you have two of the most exciting quarterbacks in the NFL to watch. You know what you're going to get out of that. And it seems like every time that this game happens, this is what we see, this is what we get. But it's always Mahomes that comes out on top. And I have a feeling that tonight it's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, especially considering Mahomes is on the road for the first time of in his playoff career, which is kind of shocking to think about. I mean, it seems like, granted, Super Bowls are always neutral field, but yeah, this is kind of a put up or show up, and I'm reminded, 2Ks, of the game that they played that they actually changed the overtime rules in. We were actually recording that night, and you hung out for a little bit to watch part of the game, the wrap up of the game, and you're like, Chiefs got this. Chiefs got this. So you go home, and by the time you go home, which from the old studio to your house is maybe 10 minutes, I think the score changed about 4 times.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, it's into overtime, and it is what it is. So, guys and gals, we are in for a treat tonight. It is 17-13 Bills at half, and 2Ks and I are putting together a halftime parlay here. 2Ks, let's start off with some news. Big news in college. We got Nick Saban retiring. Yeah. Give me your thoughts on that.
From listening to another podcast, listening to Pat McAfee, if you've listened to all during the college season this year, it was Saban on there every Thursday. Mm-hmm. And I have to admit, listening to him for probably 7-8 weeks there of the season, it really did not come as a shock to me. Just kind of some of the things that he said, about how things were obviously changing with this NIL, with this transfer portal. Basically, he used the quote unquote pay to play. Was what he was always many times when he said on that, and you could just tell that he was getting He was pretty annoyed with that, and I think that at the same time, you can kind of say these other teams were starting to even up that gap that Alabama was so used to having, where for years and years they were the comparable to like what the Patriots were in the NFL. And now teams started to kind of even up with Alabama, and Alabama wasn't quite that runaway, to win the national championship every single season anymore. And then on top of that, his age. I mean, he's getting old, and how much longer do you want to do this style where you're recruiting and on the road all the time? And so kudos to him. I mean, kudos to him for getting away from it healthy, can still still enjoy the rest of his retirement life. And I don't care what anybody says, hate him, love him. you have to respect him. He's the best college
100%.
football coach of all time, and there's no comparison.
And you and I 2Ks, pretty much the whole time we've been doing this show, we've said and been adamant about just the fact that what separates Saban is the fact that he can have a closet full of 5 stars. You never really hear anyone transfer out of there. You never really hear of anyone bitching and moaning about playing time. You never hear anything about that. And we're seeing now that maybe that's not the case. And granted, DeBoer coming from Washington is a very good coach.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Very
you
good
can't
coach.
look at his career record in
Yeah.
college football. I had to be honest with you. Up until this playoff started, I didn't know a whole lot about this guy. I didn't even know that this was only his second season at Washington, and the success that he had and how he turned around that Washington program. For us Michigan fans, we don't forget. It was only a couple years ago, just before DeBoer got that job, when Michigan played them early season and just completely beat the shit out of them. And Washington looked horrible in that game.
Yes.
And now to look at it 3 years later, they're in the national championship game. They have, probably the best college quarterback, in my opinion, on the in the game for them. And then those 3 wide receivers that are probably all going to be playing on Sunday,
Yes.
when their time comes. No, it's incredible what he's done, and now going down to Alabama, he's gonna do nothing but recruit really, really well.
Yeah.
And you saw firsthand what he did with the transfer portal at Washington, and that's something that I don't know if Saban was real big on that transfer portal, and I think the transfer portal is almost becoming just as big now as what recruiting these true freshmen. So it's adapting to the new game, because the game has changed a lot dramatically here in just the last couple of years.
Oh, 100%. And we're it's we're watching the Jason Kelsey shirtless in the booth with a
Bush latte?
I think it was a blue light.
Was it a blue light?
I think so. But how awesome would it be just to hang out with that dude?
Yeah.
I mean, that complete sidelight here, but no, we're seeing. I mean, not only the freshman corner transfer, but now their freshman super stud quarterback prospect, and leaving for Ohio State. And big news in coming out of Ohio State. We've got Bill O'Brien as the OC over there. So it's still kind of up in the air whether Ryan Day will kind of give up the play calling duties. But I have a feeling when you're bringing in a dude like that, it's like, here. I mean, if you're good enough to call plays for Nick Saban, you're probably good enough to call plays there in Columbus.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's been Ryan Day's thing. I mean, right? He's won all the games at Ohio State that they were supposed to win. It's all these close games, these knockout drag out games with Michigan here in the last few years. Obviously, you get into the big playoff games. He hasn't been able to win those. You look at Urban Meyer. He was able to win all those games at Ohio State. You go to Tressel. He was able to win those games. Ryan Day hasn't been able to do that yet. So it's almost like a little bit of desperation there, where they're really, really trying, really, really hard, and we'll see. I mean, to me, when the rankings come out to start next season, I mean, I have to expect it's going to be between them and Georgia for that top team to start the season, and it's hard to argue with Ohio State not being the most talented team in college football next year.
Well, since you put it that way, 2Ks, I might have had a few barley pops the other night, and actually looked into and placed a futures bet for Ohio State to win the national title this year, plus 2,000.
Yeah, that's just
2,000.
insane to me with what they have coming back. But it's quarterback, right? I mean, we watched that bowl game. I understand they got the kid from Kansas State coming in. They got the transfer from Alabama now. There's going to be a little bit of a competition there. We'll see what happens. I would probably lean towards the Kansas State kid just because of the experience, especially to start that season. But there's no lack of talent on that team.
No.
To me, them and Georgia are going to be the 2 most talented teams on paper, and we'll see how it all plays out. But Ryan Day, what a pud, what a pud. It's just. And that's the thing too. We'll see how it's almost like he's getting desperate, and he's pulling all these top end talents out of the transfer portal. And the key is going to be, can you keep these guys? Can you? Because you get desperate and you start chasing and you start, bringing in all this top end talent, and you don't even know if these guys are going to be able to play well together or how everything's going to mesh. But what you're going to do is some of these kids that you promised the world to when you were recruiting them, and they're not seeing the field because you're pulling all these kids in transfers all over the place. It's going to be hard to keep that whole team, that whole thing together.
Right.
Especially if they don't win it.
Yeah, and it's going to be very interesting because someone brings up NIL was the final nail, and I agree to a certain extent. I do believe that if
should have taken that 11.
Yep.
I knew
because that's like 25 on one play.
Yeah. I knew this is what he does. I mean, it was too obvious, and I can't believe it. Yeah, I can't believe I just passed it up.
We're talking about the Pat Mahomes scramble here for about 20 yards or so, and during our halftime bet we were debating whether taking him for over 11, considering he had -3. So yeah, that would have been a really, really nice check mark here on the first drive. But
what we do need is for him to throw a touchdown pass.
That would be nice. That would
to Rashee Rice.
Yes. But some other news 2Ks. I mean, speaking of coaches, man, oh man, the NFL. I mean, I'm pretty sure the first hammer to drop was Vrabes in Tennessee, which kind of was expected.
It was a shock. I mean, to me, that one bothers me because when you look at management there, how can you sit back and say that you gave that guy a chance?
Yeah, no.
With the roster that he was given, I mean. To me,
when Ryan Tannehill is your quarterback,
he got to playoff games and won playoff games with teams that shouldn't have even been in the playoffs. He was able to make it work. So that one really shocked me. And I don't think it'll kind of depend on what Vrabes wants to do, but I don't think it will be long before we see him back in a head coaching role.
No, I completely agree. And yeah, he's taken interviews. I mean, pretty much at every spot that everyone else has in Atlanta. At the Chargers, he's going to be able to pick and choose where he wants to go. And then it really wasn't a shock, but I mean it kind of still is that Bill Belichick, I mean, arguably the greatest head coach of all time, and I do like the fact that it was seemingly mutual. It wasn't like the Crafts were pissed at him; he was pissed at the Crafts. And again, given a roster where how on earth can you win with this type of roster the way that it's put together? Mm-hmm. But then again, you look at it as not only was Bill the coach, Bill was the GM. Mm-hmm. So where does that? I mean, it's partially his fault. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, that's seemingly he's destined for Atlanta. Which one thing there, 2Ks is, I mean. Okay, Atlanta has 0 quarterbacks.
Exactly, and that, to me, that's the problem that in New England. Like, he's won with subpar talent. Mm-hmm. His entire tenure in New England. The thing was, he had a badass defense, and he had Tom Brady.
Yeah,
so it's like he's pieced it together with different pieces forever, and was able to win. But you have to have a quarterback in this league, and
there's another one. Nope, he didn't get there. Kelsey's nope. They signaled him.
I don't know about that one.
That one did not look like he got in. But no, one of the things that without the quarterback there, which leads me to believe that I don't think trading for Justin Fields is the answer for down there, and I'm not so sure that they're in position to draft one of these top tier quarterbacks. So if they are, I mean, obviously they'd have to move up. Mm-hmm. Or take kind of the later first round guys like a McCarthy, put him with Bill. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I just don't know if McCarthy's the guy right now. Like, I think he's someone that kind of has to take that Jordan Love way of play behind somebody for a couple years. I'm not saying it has to be Aaron Rodgers caliber. That was just best. One of the best case scenarios for Jordan Love that his career ever could have started to play behind that for. But I just feel like McCarthy's still needs look, he was never leaned on at Michigan to be that guy to go out and win ball games with his arm. He just needed to take care of the football and that running game and just not do anything dumb and turn the ball over. And and he won games, and that's what he's known for. Do I think he has the talent and the arm talent? Absolutely, but I think he needs some time before he just jumps into a role.
Yeah, I totally agree. But the overall thing this tells me, 2Ks, and Jason Kelsey still has his shirt off, and looks like he's rocking a Bud Light this time around. But if Bill is going the route of a younger quarterback, 2Ks, to me that tells me that he's not doing this just to get the record.
Sure.
It seems to me like he's going to be there for 5, 6, 7 years, so or longer, depending on how this young quarterback kind of pans out. So ultimately, that's the biggest takeaway I have is the longevity, because most folks are just like, all right, well, yeah, he's chasing the record and he'll be done, which he's 14, 15 wins away, which. In New England, they kind of had it set up to where if he had a better year this year, they were hoping that milestone would have been passed next year. His contract would have been up, but the state of his just the team altogether just kind of forced their hand. So that's the biggest takeaway there. And then kind of the biggest, I would say. I'm going to say most sought after, just because the past 3 years it's been rumored, Coach Harbaugh to the NFL. And I think this year is more serious because A, he hired an agent, and B, I think regardless if Michigan loses in the national championship game, I think everything still goes according to plan is the way it's going now. And kind of the perfect scenario, 2Ks. It's pretty much like if he wants the job with the Chargers, that's pretty much, it's his for the taking. And as a Michigan fan, 2Ks, I know you'll miss Harbaugh, but you got a great coach sitting right there.
Yeah,
and it's very similar to what Notre Dame did. I mean, granted, Brian Kelly left for way different reasons, and way horrible timing, just the way where Harbaugh's doing it the right way. And hiring within, and his name's Sherrone Moore, correct?
Yes,
he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I think it's been kind of obvious here, just the way this season played out, that he is the next guy in line. It absolutely shocked me a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if it was just a bunch of bullshit that was thrown out by the media. But when they started talking about Brian Kelly being interested in leaving to go to Michigan, and I was just like, oh my God, fuck. No, there's no way I couldn't do it. I would never be able to walk back everything I've said about that fucker for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
If he became the coach there, and it just screams. It's just obvious that if Harbaugh chooses to do this, which I believe that he will, that Sherrone Moore, you don't even need to. No. There doesn't even need to be any interviews.
Nope.
He already did it this year and won big games. Beat Penn State, beat Ohio State.
Yep.
I think he's done more than enough to prove it. And I think it's important that culture that Michigan has built here, and that Sherrone Moore has been a major piece to that culture. I think you don't want to mess that up any.
No. You got you've got a good thing going.
Exactly.
Why there's really no reason to break up the band per se, and reinvent the wheel when Harbaugh's had the lean years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's built this to where it's top tier.
This is the thing. Harbaugh's been doing it for years. So as far as the game management part of it, you probably give the nod to Harbaugh. But I would say, I'd go out on a limb right now and say Moore's going to be a better recruiter. I would say Moore's been a part of that as far as the development of the players. I mean, you don't really put that on the head coach as far as development goes. It's the head coaching job to hire the guys in line to develop those players. Yeah. And Harbaugh's done a phenomenal job of that. And the strength and conditioning coach that they have, the defensive coordinating job that Jesse Minter did here with this team this year, Sherrone Moore being the offensive coordinator, they have developed they're not recruiting 5 stars to Michigan. No. They're recruiting a bunch of 3 and 4 stars, and they're hitting some guys in the transfer portal, but they're not hitting big-time name transfer portal guys. They're just hitting what spots that they need to fill, and they're hitting it. But they're developing those players, and to me, that's why you keep Sherrone Moore, because
100%.
if you keep him, I think you can keep most of that staff with you to where. But yeah, and if Harbaugh stays, I think Sherrone Moore stays. He'll stay right in his role because it's not like, regardless if Harbaugh goes to the NFL or he stays in Michigan, he's not going to do this for a lot longer.
Yeah.
That's why I think he's going to the NFL, because I think it's kind of that last hoorah. He wants to go for a Super Bowl, be one of the, I think, 2 coaches in the history that have won a national championship at the college level and a Super Bowl. And so, to have that opportunity now to do that. But I think the writing was kind of on the wall. J.J. McCarthy opts out of his final season to go to the draft, followed up by about 18 more players that are opting out of there. I think that I would be very, very shocked if Harbaugh hasn't had a conversation with them like, hey, this is.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty upfront.
I mean, and there's really nothing to hide.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You built this. This is what you set out to do. You've completed it. So yes, take some time to bask in your accomplishment, because you deserve it.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, I rewind 5 years ago, 2Ks. How many people wanted this guy out of town? They wanted him.
COVID saved his job.
Yeah.
I've said it so many times. If it wasn't for COVID, that COVID year, Michigan plays Ohio State, and Ohio State beats the absolute shit out of them.
Yeah.
And if that would have happened, I don't think that Ward Manuel would have been able to not make a move there, because the fan base, everything had turned on, and they were done with him.
Yep.
And I don't think there was any way possible that they would have been able to keep him. And Harbaugh, I think, realized that. He obviously, the pay cut came out. He knew that he needed to make changes to his staff. That's when Sherrone Moore came in. That's when he made it wasn't Minter off the bat. It was the other one from the Ravens, McDonald, who's now defensive coordinator with the Ravens. But basically, he called out to John, his brother John Harbaugh, and said, I need to find something different defensively. We need to come up with a way that we can stop Ohio State and the athletes that they have. And John said, well, I have 2 guys. They're both position coaches on the defensive side of the ball. They're both young. They're very, very sharp, and they both could use kind of a jump start in their career to get to where they want to be. Which I think both of them, it's pretty obvious they want to be NFL coaches in their careers. But they're both in their low 30s, young and going. McDonald was the first one. So McDonald goes to Michigan. Minter needs to get out of the NFL too, and needs to get an actual coordinating job. He leaves and goes to Vanderbilt. McDonald coaches 1 season at Michigan. The defense is top 5 in the nation. They get beat by Georgia in the bowl game, which that Georgia team was insane that year. But anyways, their defense was so good that year. McDonald leaves, goes back to the Ravens as their defensive coordinator. Harbaugh makes a call to Minter, who was second in line for that, to Vanderbilt, and they yank him from Vanderbilt to Michigan. And but those coordinators, it's the Minter and it's the Sherrone Moores that came, that Harbaugh hired in that whole process. And from that point on, man, they've been everything clicked with them.
In breaking news, 2Ks. This is a tweet from NFL Research that touchdown by Kelce puts Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce have the most touchdowns, 16, by any quarterback receiver duo in NFL history. The duo passed Tom Brady and Gronk.
Insane. And how many more years are they going to play together?
Yeah, no shit.
There's going to be plenty more.
Well, yeah, I'm since we've had such a kind of a layoff here, 2Ks, I mean, we can go down the news rabbit hole here forever. But let's jump to some NFL. And we're watching like we said, we're kind of live reacting and doing the show with the Kansas City Buffalo game. Kansas City's up 20-17. Buffalo is driving. James Cook is basically running over everybody. It seems like it's been either him or Josh Allen just trucking folks so far in this game, 2Ks. But let me get some stats going here so far. Box score, here we go. Mahomes is 12 of 16, 161 yards, two touchdowns. Allen's a 17 for 22, 124 yards, but 2 rushing touchdowns. James Cook leads the rushing attack with 67 yards. Allen is at 54. Mahomes is third, 2 carries for 21 yards. So maybe we kind of embellished that last run just a tad, but that's okay. And Kelsey, basically coming out of nowhere, 2Ks. He's had some good games, but we were kind of joking before we went live. It's like, when is the last time this dude had a touchdown? Mm-hmm. Now he has 2. 4 catches, 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. And here goes Josh Allen again. But let's backtrack here a little bit, 2Ks. Let's get everyone caught up on the weekend here. First off, we had Texans-Ravens. And this game at halftime was, tied 10-10? Mm-hmm. Yep, it was tied 10-10. And then it just kind of turned into the Baltimore show. Mm. I mean, you can tell they started flexing their muscle, but it wasn't with the 34 points, 2Ks. There really wasn't. I mean, Lamar had 2 passing touchdowns and 2 rushing touchdowns. Had 152 yards passing, 100 yards rushing, which I think kind of was the backbreaker for that whole thing, is just him being able to rush and take off. And CJ 19 for 33, only 175 yards passing, but still rookie quarterback, 2Ks in his first playoff game ever against this Baltimore defense that is arguably the best defense in the league.
Oh, I think they are the best defense in the league for sure. I mean, you had Baltimore's the team to beat in the NFL right now. Like, you have, to me, in my opinion, the MVP in the league and Lamar Jackson this year as their quarterback, and then behind and not only the Ravens have gotten better at the receiving position. That's always been the thing, right? You had Lamar Jackson, and he's been phenomenal his entire career, but never really had, outside of a phenomenal tight end game. Yeah. Never has really had the receivers, and this year he's got some legit receivers and has been playing majority of the season without that tight end that I was talking about.
And he's been healthy Mark Andrews all year, which is the main key. Mm-hmm. I mean, bet on himself, represented himself, finally got his bag. Mm-hmm. And you are right that rookie that they drafted has just been a perfect pairing. Yep. And like you said, that what's it? Fairley is his name? Mm-hmm. Likely. Yep. Isaiah Likely. I think without him stepping up and Andrews, Andrews not being there, this team probably isn't where they're at. Yeah. Even with the defense, with Jackson doing Lamar Jackson things, but man, we have to give props too, because C.J. Stroud this was his coming out party.
He was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, all year. And the point I was trying to get at is 0 interceptions in his first playoff game. I mean, how many other quarterbacks in league history can say that against the number 1 defense in the league? Now, granted, the offense was stymied. Mm-hmm. I think the only touchdown they had was either a kick or a punt return. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like they were, they weren't world beaters by any means. But I think it just came to fruition that they just played a better team.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Now, this is a team you have to bet on for the future as well. A lot of this team is very young. I think paired with a couple more pieces on offense, mainly the offensive line, and then just shore up that defense a little bit. D'Amico is going to be having those boys rolling. Yeah. So, and then like you and I talked about last night, getting Tank Dell back is going to be huge. Yeah,
absolutely.
Huge for this team.
There is absolutely nothing to hang your head at. I mean, obviously you're upset because you lost in this playoff game, but you have a rookie quarterback, you have a rookie head coach. Yeah. You lost your number 1 receiver in Tank Dell. You had Nico Collins, who just kind of come out of nowhere this year.
Absolutely nowhere.
Dalton Schultz, the addition to him on that offense, like that offense is going to be very good for a long time. I think you're exactly right. The defense has got to get better. You got to get some better names in there. But another rookie in Will Anderson, who had a phenomenal season too for them. So, I mean, that team is going to be back just in the division that they play in. I think that their opportunities they're going to have a lot of opportunities to get back into things there and be back for these future years. But yeah, it was an incredible season, and I always knew, obviously being a Michigan fan and watching a lot of games against Ohio State, I always knew how good of a quarterback C.J. Stroud was. Had no idea he was this fucking good.
No, and I mean, yeah, if you're a Texans fan, you have a lot to be excited about. Let's catch up on some of these comments here, 2Ks. Andrew says, "Did I hear right? Pete Carroll stepped down." That is correct. Now there are some some very contradictory reports coming out that it was a mutual thing. There was some that he was kind of forced out. They're saying he's going up into the administration, so kind of keep an eye on that there Andrew, because I have a feeling it's a story that we haven't heard the rest of. And Julia says, "Go Lions, the roar is restored, #grit." Yes, we are going to get to that game here in a second. Going to get to that game for sure, because A, it was a badass game, and B, it was the thumbnail, so we got to get to it. Capping off last night, Packers fall to the 49ers in kind of a nail-biter 2Ks, 24-21. Let's take a look here at some of the stats. Jordan Love goes 21 of 34, 194, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Brock Purdy goes 23 of 39, 252 and 1 touchdown. And looks like the Bills have gone ahead. Second straight game with a receiving. Good for him. That's awesome. And Aaron Jones has a huge game, 2K. It's 18 carries, 108 yards. Romeo Doubs has a big game, 4 catches, 83 yards. George Kittle led the way for the Niners, 4 catches, 81 yards and a touchdown. And Christian McCaffrey, 17 carries, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also had 7 catches for 30 yards. I honestly think he's the MVP.
Yeah, I mean,
I know Lamar's going to get it.
Yeah,
I know he is. But man, if you're talking about, I mean, this says it right here. But this is what I don't know if he gets all the credit he should because he does this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But again, he's healthy this year, like Lamar, where these were guys that have had a history of getting banged up. So it's good to see them both kind of playing top notch. But I think the nail in the coffin here, 2Ks, was the 2 picks by Love, especially obviously the one end of the game. But again,
special teams again. I mean, it's the field goal kicking, and that's been an issue.
That was an issue. Like, special teams was kind of
it was what lost them the game last time we were in this situation.
Yep.
And then you go to last night, and it's not in the punting and the kick returns and all that. They've kind of got that fixed, but now it's your field goal kicking and
where's Mason Crosby?
And that's the thing. Like, it's been an issue all season long. This kid has not been able to consistently make field goals for him, and I'm talking a lot of fucking NFL chip shots.
Yeah.
Extra points that he's missed, and it's just, and that field goal last night. I mean, to me, that's a failure. You think of what that team has battled through this year, injury wise. They're the youngest team in the NFL. To me, it was just a phenomenal job from the midway point of that season to the end, from what Matt LaFleur did there to turn that team around, and the offensive style that he started running, and the trust that he built with Jordan Love, because in the beginning of the season it was almost like he didn't have a whole lot of faith in Jordan Love. I shouldn't say faith, I should say trust. He wasn't a lot of really simple reads, nothing really crazy, and then about the halfway point of the season, it was like he really just, all right, we're going to open it up and we're going to let you go. And Jordan Love's game from that point on was fucking top 5 in the league.
Yep.
He was phenomenal. But you got to give the credit to LaFleur there.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of wide receivers that nobody's ever even heard of.
No,
and he schemes guys open better than about any coach I've ever seen. Like, he is I mean, one of the best in all of football at what he does as far as on the offensive side of the ball. Defensively, that was a struggle in the beginning of the season. They figured that shit out. I mean, that wasn't they played well enough on defense, and they played well enough on offense to win that game.
100%.
You have to make that field goal, and that changes the whole game. And we're seeing an overtime. And the thing is, they had the ball last night. They had an opportunity to go down and win that ball game, and unfortunately the interception was thrown. But they're kind of, to me, in the same situation as the Texans. It's the same thing.
I was just going to get
everything
to that.
I just said about Houston. I think Jordan Love, even though Jordan Love's not a rookie, I would say that Jordan Love, to me, I think Jordan Love right now is ahead of C.J. Stroud. I think I would rather have Love right now than Stroud, especially with the offensive philosophy. LaFleur's not going anywhere.
No.
Texans and Stroud are going to lose that offensive coordinator. He's going to probably go elsewhere. They're going to have to rebuild that again. We'll see. But yeah, to me, it's like the same situation. The Green Bay is going to be back. They are going to be able to make another run at this. They're going to be very, very good. They're going to get nothing but better. But yeah, it was how they can. The players did their thing. The coaching did their thing. To me, it falls on the GM there, Mr. Gunther. You have to fucking get a kicker.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to. We saw it 5-6 years ago with the Chicago Bears when they rolled out the Parkey kid, and just botched it. He's that's similar situation here. Like this kid, it's not like he just started missing field goals when the playoffs started. He's been missing them all season long.
And for those of you on Facebook, I did put a comment. If you click that link in the comment that I left in the comments, your comment, when I pull it up, will show up like Andrew's here instead of like this. This is from Joe Mater. My Lions get to play at least one more week. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Man, it would have been badass if Green Bay would have won that last night.
Yep.
One more home game for Detroit. Win, go to the Super Bowl. Like, that would have been sweet.
Someone here says, Andrew says, diehard Packers fan, but my personal opinion, Jordan Love isn't in it for our future.
What?
I think you're nuts.
Yeah,
I think you're nuts. As a Bears fan, I would love to have Jordan Love right now.
Yeah, I really, you would have talked to me early in the season, and I would have said, "Ooh, I don't know." But what he did the second half of the year, what he did, even against the Cowboys in the first game of the playoffs, I think it's safe to say that he's the guy.
Got another comment.
Look at his numbers compared to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers started. They're very, very similar. Probably leaning a little bit more towards Jordan Love, to be honest with you.
Packers are the youngest team in the NFL, and I think that the Lions are the second youngest. Should be an interesting NFC North for years to come. 100%.
Yeah, and the Bears are going to get the Bears. I mean, these draft picks are going to change some things.
I sure hope so.
And what the Bears defense did there at the end of the season, they came around on the offensive side of the ball. We'll see what they do here in the draft as far as quarterback-wise. Are they going to decide to keep Fields? Do you go with Caleb Williams?
I think it's going to hinge on what's his name? Lincoln Riley? No. He's the coach of the Cardinals. He's with Lincoln Riley.
Oh, Kingsbury.
Kingsbury, yeah. They were interviewing Kingsbury to be the OC. I think if that happens and it's a slam dunk, and if you're an NFL GM, you have to be thinking that yes, if that happens, get your offers in for Justin Fields. And I by all means, I am not saying Justin Fields is a terrible quarterback. You just need someone or an offensive system very similar to Baltimore's, because they're two very special athletes.
Sure.
So the Bears obviously do not have that. And, we got Kansas City driving here down 24-20.
This is showing out to be, it's going to be an awesome fourth quarter.
Yeah, I love it. You kind of had to. I mean, with this game, it probably is going to come down to who has the ball last. So, which is great for all of us. It's great for all of us. Who doesn't want more awesome football? Andrew says here, I was told that last night at the bar, surrounded by Packers fans, LOL. I'm just not 100% sold on him taking us to a Super Bowl. Maybe if he settles down in the pocket and looks at coverages a little better. When he's poised and observant, he's a hell of a hand with the ball. I honestly think that it's his first year starting.
Right. You have to basically...
He's only going to get better.
You have to basically, he's a rookie.
Yeah.
I mean, he's not a rookie, but he is a rookie.
Yeah.
And I think it's just only going to get better as time goes on. And I think he's got, as far as offensive-minded head coach that he has, I think he's got one of the best when it comes to that category. So I think he's going to get nothing but better. I mean, look what LaFleur did for Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers was not having good seasons there at the tail end of McCarthy's era. Actually, Rodgers was awful at the end of McCarthy's era. And LaFleur goes in there and he goes on to win 2 MVPs. I think the way that offense runs and the way that they were able to scheme receivers open, because I think he does it better than any coach in the NFL, with the exception of maybe Mr. Andy Reid right here. There's potential there for Jordan Love to win an MVP in his career, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you would have to think that this is Gutekunst's team now. Everyone that's on that roster is someone that he's either drafted or signed. And with I think the exception of Bakhtiari, which again, who knows if Bakhtiari is done, if he's coming back, if he can come back, and given a couple more drafts or free agency, because I have a feeling there was a lot of people that did not want to play with Aaron Rodgers, but just to shore up the offensive line, shore up the defense a little bit, maybe add a weapon here or there, but you have a great running game, you have a defense that's improving, you have young offensive weapons that are under control for quite a while, and I'm gonna, which then again, how much of a hit is when Jordan Love hits the free, or when they go to extend him, you really can't, as a GM, give him Justin Herbert money. You can't give him Joe Burrow money. So that's going to be a very interesting situation going forward there, Andrew. But yeah, it's if you're a Packers fan, you have to be stoked.
Oh, for sure. I mean, look, and it's don't come at me with any fucking sob stories, buddy, because you've had Brett Favre, then rolled that to Aaron Rodgers, and now rolling that to what we've seen so far. Man, that would have been. I
thought that was his
nice.
helmet.
It would have been nice if you would have got in.
Yeah.
But anyways, then rolls off of Aaron Rodgers right into what Jordan Love did this season. I think you're going to be just fine. I think you're going to be fine.
We know who else is stoked, 2Ks? Every fucking Lions fan, and they should be stoked. The Lions are going to the NFC Championship game, playing against the 49ers next Sunday. Jared Goff goes 30 for 43, 287, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, which is key for him, 2Ks, which is key. And Pacheco?
Touchdown.
Yep. Kansas City pulls ahead. And if you're playing the drinking, and Jason Kelce still doesn't have a shirt on, just for those wanting to keep score at home. What we've seen with Goff, 2Ks, is when he throws interceptions, the team is bad. When he doesn't, this team is very good. And by team, obviously, I mean the whole way around. And Baker goes 26 of 41, 349 yards, 3 passing touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. Mike Evans has pretty much a Mike Evans day. 8 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Kind of, it seemed like Goff was more was getting the ball around more to folks, because St. Brown has 8 catches for 77 yards. Usually he's a lock to go over 100.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta gotten out that knee injury, 9 catches, 65 yards. St. Brown does score a touchdown. But Gibbs, Williams, Brock Wright, Josh Reynolds, David Montgomery all had catches. So he did spread it around very well. And the defense, 2Ks, I mean, I want to say they had 4 sacks, only allowed 2 sacks. So that was pretty key, considering what Tampa was able to do the last week.
And that's what I was kind of shocked watching the game was, you think of a Todd Bowles defensive, team, they're going to blitz, they're going to run a lot of exotics, they're going to try to muck things up, especially when you're going against a quarterback that's not mobile.
Yeah.
Basically a statue in the pocket. And it wasn't like they tried to really do anything to get after him. And if Goff has all day to make run through his reads and read his progressions, he's going to pick you apart. And then also they were able to get the running game going.
Finally, yes.
With what Gibbs did there to start the second half, running the football, that sets up the play action. And when Detroit's offense can set up that play action, they are really, really good. Really good.
There was one point in the first half, 2Ks, where Jared Goff led the rushing attack with 6 yards rushing. For a Lions team, that is completely unheard of. But yes, and that, if you watch the game, the commentators pretty much laid it out. They're like, well, yes, the Lions lost to Tampa earlier in the season, but they were without Gibbs.
Yep.
And he is a total difference maker to that team. The lightning, if you want to call it, to Montgomery's thunder, and they split the carries pretty much even. Gibbs got 9 carries, Montgomery had 10. Gibbs did get 4 catches out of the backfield for 40 yards. So all in all, 2Ks, this was one of those games. It was Dan Campbell. His personality just spewed out on the field. They won the toss and took the ball. I mean, who in the hell does that in the NFL now? He's like, nope, we're gonna get out in front of you and we're just gonna beat the shit out of you. And I love it. I love every part of this. I love it. Detroit, every Lions fan should be screaming at the top of their lungs because you guys have stunk for so long. And it seems like you've been the butt of everyone's joke about how you come up with ways to lose games. And
it's
just
awesome. Been an epic month for the state of Michigan. I mean,
well, they had
because all these Lions fans are also Michigan Wolverine fans, or maybe some of them are fucking Sparty fans, but for the most part, majority of them are Michigan fans. And so you get to watch that where Michigan goes 15-0, runs the table, goes undefeated through all their bullshit that everybody tried to pull with them this year, and then to follow that up with the Lions winning 2 playoff games, you get 2 home games. You beat Matthew Stafford, your former quarterback. You beat him in front of all of your home fans. Then you followed up with another win today. It's been a great month as far as for football in the state of Michigan. Something that was desperately needed.
And we got a comment from Miss Julia Proschwitz here. It says, in Goff we trust. It's finally a great year to be a Lions fan. I have been to tons of college games, but the Lions-Viking game that I attended was electric. I can only imagine the atmosphere and excitement in Ford Field today. I can only imagine how many people in Detroit are not going to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
You might as well shut down the whole city and just imagine next Sunday 2Ks.
Yeah. And it's so fun to watch because when you're watching Jared Goff and just his moxie as the quarterback with Detroit, completely different version of that Jared Goff that was with the Rams when they were in the Super Bowl and lost that game. I think a lot of Rams fans said that year when they were beat by the Patriots in that game that, if we had a better quarterback, we win. Yeah. That was always the Jared Goff just never lived up to the number 1 pick expectations that Rams fans had. And him going to Detroit, like, the city of Detroit fucking loves this guy. The city of Detroit wants the extension. They want this guy to be their quarterback for the future. And I think it shows in Goff's game, the confidence, him knowing that, hey, this whole city's buying into me, and I got out of that where nobody wanted me around, including my head coach, everything. And now you have a guy that, Dan Campbell, that fucking, he's ready to fucking die for you.
And kneecaps.
Just, I mean, I don't think there's any other place that Goff would rather be.
No, and to kind of put a bow on it, 2Ks, you kind of saw just an aura of confidence starting about halfway through last year, after the horrid start they got off to last year. Just there was just something about Jared Goff that changed, and when that changed, the Lions changed, and we're seeing it just in full force. And it is absolutely amazing to see what he's doing. What did we say? What did we say the spread was? 2Ks, 6.5, something like that. I think that's too much. I really do, especially considering. And I'm saying that because I think the Lions are a better team than the Packers. And if the Packers just gave the 49ers that big a fit, even if the Lions do happen to lose, I think give me the points on that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the points. Joe Mader says the Lions beat Tampa earlier, so I am mistaken. And he says not at all, go green.
Yeah, fuck Michigan State.
I just figured he was a Michigan State fan. Sorry, Joe. Well, with that being said, 2Ks, we really can't give any picks for next week because this game still is underway, and there's 13 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter, so I have a feeling there's a lot more scoring. And the Bills just faked a punt and came up short.
Did not get it.
Short.
That was not the. That's having no trust in being able to stop Mahomes right now.
Well, do you blame him?
No, but 12:49 to go in the fourth quarter, a lot of football to be played. That you just ran a play that if you don't get it, there's a good chance that lost you the game right there.
Yeah. Yep. Julia says Lions are Super Bowl bound. I sure hope so.
I hope so too. It'll be obviously their toughest test next week with the San Francisco team. But hey, there's a chance that Debo might not be out there.
That's true.
Depending on how serious that injury is, and that offense is completely different when Debo's not on the field with what he can, what he brings to the table.
You would rewind to that 3-game skid that they were on. Debo and Trent Williams were both sidelined, and I honestly thought it was. It was more Trent Williams than Debo, but man, Pacheco just the way he runs, I would not want to step in front of him, let alone tackle him. Well, 2Ks, I think it's about that time here. Before we get into the next little segment here, 2K crew, I want to thank everyone for joining us, for watching us, for taking time out of your day. For those of you that are on Facebook, love each and every one of you. I will drop a link to the YouTube channel. I really do think that the viewing experience is a little bit better over on YouTube, so I will drop that right now. So everyone go over there and give us a nice little sub over there. And if you are, for those of you that are on YouTube, thank you for watching us. Hit that like, hit the subscribe if you're not. Drop us a comment. I mean, we've been highlighting folks' comments all night. If you want to see your name up there, go ahead and drop a comment and give us a share. In the lastly, the not forgotten and kind of the whole thing is the audio side, 2Ks. If you are whatever podcast software that you use, go ahead and give us a follow and give us a nice rating over there. Give us a nice rating. Well, 2Ks, like I said, coming down into the studio, your national championship boner barely got through the doorway, and we kind of talked about it a little bit here, but I wanted to get that's a fumble.
That's a touchback.
Oh, that's a huge swing here, and now we're gonna get the folks that hate this rule, but I really don't know what else you would do with it. Yeah.
That's so close.
Yeah, that is super close.
It's almost like that ball was coming loose though when before he touched. Yeah, that's close.
Now this is a prime play where if this was the Manning cast, they'd be able to talk about butt cheeks for about 10 minutes, which Peyton and Eli love to talk about butt cheeks. But 2Ks, yeah, I just want to give you the floor here a little bit, kind of enjoy it, sink in. And just give us your thoughts on not only the game, obviously the result, but yeah, the floor is yours.
No, it was just incredible. I mean, what they did this year, the run that they went on, and it starts even before this year. That you get your ass kicked against Georgia 3 years ago. Georgia was by far the best team in the nation, all the same kids, And they come back the next year, and I think they really thought, especially after they blew Ohio State away in Columbus, like we can go on and we can take on Georgia in the national championship, and they just lay an absolute dud against TCU. They get beat. Opportunity for a lot of those kids to call it quits, go to the NFL, and they all decided to come back And, there's rumors of Harbaugh leaving for the NFL last year. He decides to come back. Everybody comes back. They run it back. I think J.J. McCarthy said that he guaranteed that they were going to come back. Like, that's like Tim Tebow-esque. Like, that's something that like Tebow would have said, and then so McCarthy treats that that post game press conference, and he says all that, and they fucking did it. Like, they came back. There was a lot of bullshit that happened this year. People can fucking say whatever the fuck they want. All this shit came out, and then they went on and had a bigger microscope on them than any other team in the nation, and they beat Penn State, just fucking embarrassed them. They ran the ball every single play in the second half and just completely fucking embarrassed them. They beat Ohio State, and then it's Alabama, right? And Alabama's going to beat them. Michigan was scared the day that the announcement came out that Alabama was the 4 seed, and look at all the players, Michigan players, they're all scared. And they fucking bullied them in that game too. Made a shit ton of mistakes in that game. Probably should have lost that game with all the mistakes that they made. Kind of reminded me of the TCU game from last year. But they still find a way to come out and win that game. And then this Washington team, best quarterback in the nation, 3 NFL wide receivers, best offense in college football. Absolutely. I can't argue that they're not the best offense in college football. Well, Michigan's defense is the number 1 defense in college football too, and you held that to 13 points. The only touchdown drive that they gave up was on a blown opportunity where Michigan went for it on 4th down, gave the ball to Washington with momentum, with great field position. They go down and score, but it was just absolutely fucking dominated by Michigan that game, and they proved to the whole world like all this shit was bullshit. And like I said earlier, I mean, football for the state of Michigan this past month has been amazing.
It wasn't a touchback, by the way.
And even to me, even if you're a Michigan State fan, you should sit back and be cheering for what Michigan did, because you know damn well that you guys will never do it. So sit back and cheer, because somebody had to do it for the state of Michigan. Go out there and win that championship, and Michigan did it. And Michigan State, you guys will never do it. Never have the opportunity. Never have the opportunity to do it in basketball either. So, that's where I'm gonna fucking go with it.
Well, in all fairness, for Michigan to succeed and the Lions to succeed this far, the sports gods had to sacrifice the Pistons. I mean, he did. It's not Massachusetts where every team is good. So, just wanted to throw that in there. No, it's I'm sure as a fan, 2Ks, you're looking at, all right, well, what's next year going to look like? I mean, for the obvious reasons that we've talked about. So I was proud of the guys. I was proud of Coach Harbaugh. And for a fan base that is, they've been yearning for this, it's awesome. It's awesome. Well, 2Ks, let's wrap this show up with our top five. Today we're doing our top 5 fast food burgers, 2Ks. Do you have your list ready?
Yeah, I'm kind of going off the cuff with this one. I mean, I don't even really.
From the hip. All right, give me your number 5. Now, I was wanting to do like just fast food.
You're just doing like fast food, like franchise, or
that's I kind of left it open ended, because after I got to thinking about it, it's like, all right, well, there isn't any In-N-Outs around here. There's no like Shake Shack. There's no, some of the major. When you get the major burger debate, we don't have those around here. So let's just say it has to be a restaurant. Okay. I'll give you my 5 first.
Sure.
Since I have my list ready. Number 5, I got to go McDonald's. Love a good double quarter pounder with cheese. Kind of a staple. Even if you go single, still a great burger. I will argue I still love the McDonald's fries. I think they're still top notch. But yeah, McDonald's is a number 5 for me. Even though if you do go through the drive-thru and order one, the likelihood of having to wait, I've noticed, is kind of ridiculous. It's like, all right, everything else you have ready. but not the double quarter pounder, not the double quarter pounder. My number 4, give me that the flame broiled goodness of a good Whopper. Again, double Whopper, because I mean, if you're gonna go, you might as well go big, and as a diabetic, you might as well go big with the protein because it's still the same amount of carbs. It's still the same amount of carbs because it's only one bun. It's not a Big Mac. It's not a Big Mac. Number 3, I'm going Wendy's. And sneaky, Wendy's probably are my favorite fast food fries, even though it varies between them and McDonald's. What kind of mood I'm in. But yeah, give me a double from Wendy's. Don't give me this triple bullshit. That's just way too much. Way too much. Number 3 is give me Culver's.
A good one.
Give me Culver's. Love the fries there too. But give me a double mushroom and Swiss. Give me a double mushroom Swiss from Culver's. And my number 5, this is the one that the reason why I wanted to open it up a little bit, because yes, this is I consider it fast food, but their lack of a drive-through I think would have a lot of folks saying that it's not fast food. Five Guys.
Yeah.
And Five Guys all together. Now the key, I posted something on my Facebook. I believe it was talking about fries, and I said, Five Guys fries are by far my favorite fries ever. They're kind of like county fair French fries. Love them. The key to that is if you and your significant other are going to Five Guys, each order a burger and then split the tiny fry, because you get like a whole bag full of fries. You don't need each one of you to have fries. So yes, it is a tad expensive, but all food's expensive nowadays, 2K. So, with that, what is your number 5?
Well, for number 5, I'll start off with it's one actually you don't ever see them up here, but when we go down to Florida every year for spring break, Whataburger. So I have that one on there just because it's not one that I have obviously only but like once a year,
right?
So that's why it just barely makes the list, but it's one of those we're down there for a week every single year, and it's like a must that I'm going to stop there and get it.
Very, very good.
Yes.
Very good.
Yes. Number 4, I'm gonna go McDonald's. I agree with you 100%. French fries. There's actually times where I get a burger from some of these other places, and then we'll go get fries from McDonald's. But yeah, so you gotta.
Are you a quarter pounder guy or a Big Mac?
I am a quarter pounder guy. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Double quarter pounder. I agree with you.
I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Why not?
Number 3, I'm gonna go. So I cover at work. I cover a pretty good majority of like Centerville, Three Rivers, over into that area, and I also make my way into Sturgis.
Oh, I know where you're going.
Every now and again, and so I got to go Hot and Now. The only Hot and Now left is in Sturgis, Michigan. So I normally work over there, like maybe I'll make it into Sturgis once or twice a month, and I try to make sure I always go to Hot and Now for my lunch when I'm over there. So that's at number 3. Number 2,
get the cheese teasers from there. Oh, those are you have to when you get the cheese teasers, you have to let them cool down, because the cheese inside will scald your mouth.
Yeah,
scald your mouth.
And like, I can remember the prices of when I was younger, and the prices have obviously went up. I mean, that's everywhere you go now, but you can still get like fucking 5 double cheeseburgers and cheese teasers and all that and still be under $10, and you can't do that any of these places that we're talking about anymore. So yeah, Hot and Now, fucking incredible. If it was if there was more of them, it would be number 1 on my list, honestly. Number 2, Culver's. I love Culver's. And we talked about the French fries. For me, Culver's, the cheese curds. Yeah, that's number 2. But number 1, I eat one of these way too much, and that is the Baconator from Wendy's. Honestly, and I've had this conversation with my wife I don't know how many times, and she's like, "You're fucking an idiot." But I would pick a Wendy's Baconator over about any cheeseburger that I've had from most restaurants, bars, everything that I've ever been to in my life. I've been to places where they're like, "Oh, this is the best burger," that you'll ever have. And I'm like, I'll eat it, and I'm like, that's very good,
Yeah.
but it's not as good as a
no
Baconator. So that's how much respect I have for the Wendy's Baconator. Fucking ridiculous, because it is about $20 when it's all said and done when you get your meal.
Now, do you go pretzel bun now?
No, I just keep it with the
Stay OG?
Yes, yep, absolutely.
Stay OG?
I do like a pretzel bun every now and again, but honestly, I'm more of a pretzel bun with chicken than I am pretzel bun with burger.
Interesting. All right. Well, I mean, can't argue with any of those on your list, 2Ks. And I completely forgot about the hot now play. Yeah, that's again, I 100% agree with you that if there were more of them.
Oh, like it used to be?
Yeah.
Fuck, I mean, that's only, when I was a little kid, like that's the only place we went.
Yeah. Well, even, I remember when they had the one on Westnedge, we would leave, that's back in the day when you used to go cruise the mall or go bowling, and we were 16, 17, 18 years old, and we may or may not have consumed some alcoholic beverages at said bowling alley. But we would always, for whatever reason, they served us.
Yeah.
So.
And you get like 6 double cheeseburgers from Hot and Now for the ride home. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. There'd be a whole group of us piled in someone's car. And
it cracks me up to this day, because if you drive, when you roll up there and through the drive-through, there's the option to buy like 20 burgers. That's one of their deals, like 20 burgers for $25 or something like that. It's insane. And
yes,
I'll do that.
Yes.
Yeah, why not?
Will I eat them all now? No, but they will be consumed.
Yes.
Trust me.
Yes.
Trust me. They will be consumed. But no, and you're right. Every time Kristen and I are out and about and we end up that way, I don't even care what time of day it is. It doesn't have to be lunchtime. Doesn't have to be dinner time. Yep, it's definitely hot now time. Back in the day, we used to call it rotten cow. Rotten cow, but I didn't care. It was good. It was good. Well, 2K crew, I think we'll leave you there with that. Let us know your top 5 fast food burgers. Let us know which list you think is better. Mine or 2Ks. I think with the hot now, I'm gonna have to tip my hat to 2Ks on this one. But 2K crew, we'll get you out of here on that. Everyone have a fantastic week. You will see you back here next Sunday. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.